Hi guys, and welcome to uWrench. In today's video we're going to be showing you how to recharge your car's AC system using one of these DIY kits. A couple of quick things to point out before we start the job. First of all, we are using this Duracool set which was purchased from a local Walmart store. However, various different manufacturers make kits that are similar to this, and the principle and how you actually use the kit will remain identical. We'll add some links for you in the video description below to this product and similar products on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca, so if you're looking to buy one of these DIY kits, please be sure to use our links. And the other thing to mention is, if you suspect that your system may have a leak, maybe your system's gone from running ice cold one day and you come out the next day and it's not cold at all, or you suspect there's any kind of leak in your system, then this is not the kit for you. This kit should be used if your aircon is still running, but it's not as cold as it should be and you want to top it up. That's what these essentially are, is a top-up kit. What often happens is you leave the car over the winter, you're not using the aircon at all. You come back as the summer comes back around, you go, yeah, it's about half as cold as it should be. That's because even the most efficient AC systems will lose refrigerant over time. So kits like this are an ideal way to top up your coolant. But like I say, if you suspect you have a leak of any type, or it's gone very quickly from being ice cold to nothing, then chances are you have a more serious problem, and so topping up your system won't help. So before we start using our kit, we want to make sure that it is compatible with the refrigerant that's already in the vehicle. So our system is designed for R134A, which is a type of refrigerant. And this type of refrigerant is the most common refrigerant used in today's cars. Anything after the year 2000 most likely is going to have R134A installed. But to be certain, what we can do is we can look at the label. If you have a look around the car, often just tucked in behind the grille here, this clearly tells us that our car does indeed have the R134A refrigerant installed. If you don't have a sticker here, it can be either this side, or sometimes it can be on the other side just here, and even it can be you can have a label up here on the inside here, or even sometimes here. So have a good look around your engine bay here, and you should find a label that refers directly to the type of refrigerant that you have in your system. Now, another thing you need to factor in before you start the job is the original capacity of the AC system in your particular make and model of car. Now, you can either refer to the owner's manual, or again you can have a look for one of these labels and see if it has the information contained there. And here we can see for this Grand Caravan, it's got two options depending on whether you've got single AC or dual AC, and it gives you the full capacity just there on the label. One important thing to note is that when you're doing a top up, if your AC is running cool but not cold and you want to top it up, you are absolutely not going to be replacing this quantity with the same quantity. On your refill, on your top up, you're probably going to be doing somewhere between 30 and 40% of this amount. So if you took an average of 35% of that, and that will be the amount that you will require to top up your system. So next you want to take a look at the product that you're using. You can see on our Duracool here, it says it's the equivalent of 17 ounces of R134A. So we have the dual AC on this particular vehicle, and so we can see our capacity there in grams. Convert that to ounces is approximately 41 ounces, and we want to take about 35% of that for our top up, which will be around 14.35 ounces, and as we've just seen, one can is the equivalent of 17. So on this particular top up, one can, unless we're very empty, should be enough for the job. But when you look at this, it's important to do this calculation yourself, because you may need more than one can to complete your job. So the first thing we need to do is to locate the service ports for our aircon system, and there's two ports on a normal aircon system. One is high pressure and one is low pressure. Often they're together, but sometimes they can be separate, so we need to find out where they're located under the hood. Now, as is often the way in life, the quickest way to find out the answer to a question is to do a quick Google search. So if you're unsure of the location, you can always do a quick Google search and find out where they are located for your specific make and model. The car we're working on today is a 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan with the 3.6 V6 engine. and the ports are actually quite well hidden on this one, so we're going to use this as an example of how to find the location of the ports if you're unsure where they are. But if you don't want to spend this time, do a quick Google search. You can probably skip this one little step. So the easiest way to locate it is to find out where your AC compressor is located. On this particular engine, on the Grand Caravan, the engine's actually fitted sideways into the car, so rather than being at the front of the engine where you normally expect it to be, it's actually down here. We've got the alternator there, and the AC unit actually sits just below that, and we can see we've got a couple of lines that are coming up here, usually these metal lines. Let's see this one here. This is coming up from down here. This is coming up off of our AC compressor, and we have another one coming off of it as well, a bigger one, this one here. So we've got this one, that's your high pressure, that's the smaller one, and this is your low pressure, that's the bigger one. And it's the low pressure port that we want to locate, so we're going to be following the larger of our two lines. As you can see, our two lines, they come through just to here, and then they actually come up and they go across behind the airbox, and we can pick them up behind the airbox. Just come back around to the other side. If you look, you can see down in that corner, those two pipes bent at 90 degrees right in the corner there. You've got your high one at the bottom there, the smaller one, and that's your low, the larger of the two pipes. And as you follow those along, you actually go into these two hoses here. So these black hoses, changes from metal into these black hoses, and these black hoses, you see, you've got one big one, one little one, come along, and just there you can just see that's our port. So the larger of the two is our low side, and so that there with that little black label around it, that is our low pressure port right there. Now the location of this will vary depending on your vehicle, but for the Dodge Grand Caravan it's hidden away just at the back there. Because we have limited access, I'm just going to pop the engine cover off, just give us a bit more space to work in. So next, just remove the plastic cap on your low service port. So next we're going to connect up our filler hose. Now we're going to connect a can at this stage. Now, an important thing to note on these is when you screw it in one direction, you'll see that pin comes up in the middle there, just in there, and that's actually going to pierce the top of our can when we get to that stage. So you want to make sure that we're not in that direction depending on how it's wound. So you want to do it in the opposite direction, which is anti-clockwise. So make sure that's all the way locked over. So we'll just give that a quick shake, and then we'll attach the canister onto the line. So now we're going to connect our line onto the low side service port, and just to note, they've got this little kind of snap collar. So we're going to pull that back, slot it on, and then make sure it's locked into place. So we now need to start the car. A couple of things we need to do beforehand. We need to make sure that our temperature settings are all on minimum, and also when we switch the engine on, that we make sure that the AC is switched on. So this little light in our case here will illuminate. We'll start the engine, press that, make sure that that light comes on, make sure that the AC is running. Yours may say AC, or it may be a picture of a snowflake, but obviously as we're charging the AC, you must ensure that that lights up. Additionally, with our little kit that we bought, it came with this little temperature gauge. So we'll just pop that into one of the grills just there, and so we can monitor what the temperature is to start and what we end up with after the charge. So our ambient temperature right now is a smidge under 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So with our aircon running, we're getting down to about 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So next we're going to release the refrigerant into the system by screwing this up and piercing the base of the can. And then we will turn the opposite direction, and this will release the refrigerant into the pipeline. It is important that the canister here is always in the upright position. And always remember, safety first. You should be wearing eye protection and gloves during this process. Now that the canister is pierced, as we turn the handle the other way, it will start to release the refrigerant into the line. And we're looking to get between 30 and 38 psi on our gauge. And halfway along, the blue section on our particular gauge will be 35, so that's what we'll be aiming for. You will want to slowly open and then reclose your valve, checking the pressure after each time it is closed. You will note that the pressure drops once the valve is closed, and it's that pressure with the valve closed that we need for our measurement. So just take your time, filling slowly and being careful not to overfill. So you can physically feel that the air is now blowing a lot colder than it was before. And we have our temperature gauge to back that up. Before we were just around the 65 mark, now we're sitting a little over 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And always ensure that you screw your dust cap back on, nice and snug. So there we have it, one successful air conditioning top up. The car is now running icy cold once again. If this video has been helpful for you, you can take 1 second out of your day, just a quick favour in return, and just hit that like button. Also, please consider subscribing. We've got loads more great content on our channel waiting for you to check out. Thanks a lot guys, we'll see you again.